The MLB The Show Summer Circuit is here. This is our first big MLB The Show tournament. Kind of ran through MLB The Show themselves that we've had in the game since last year. And if you guys took part in it last year, you know it didn't turn out the best. But this year, they've made a lot of improvements. They have different opportunities for everyone to take part. And overall, this is a great thing to take part in. The community kind of comes together and joins in on a fun event like this. I'm gonna break down everything involving it, how you can enter, the kind of rules required when building your team or just playing in it, and overall give you guys some pointers with things I've learned in years past from playing and watching people play. Give you guys some tips on building your team, ways to practice and prepare for this stuff, because this is gonna be the most competitive you will see MLB The Show gameplay. Let's get into it. The summer circuit is here. Obviously, there are a lot of prizes in store, and there's a lot of things to talk about. Before we get into it, I just want to kind of categorize what we're going to talk about. First, I'm just going to give you the general summary on what these tournaments are and which ones you should sign up for based on the proper scenarios. Then I'll give you the general rules and the structure of the tournament, how it will work, because it does have some similarities to things in the years past. And finally, once we get through all the rules and how the stuff works, I'll give you guys some practice tips so you could prepare, build your team, and just kind of practice and make sure you are at your best in terms of your gameplay for this tournament. Also, by the way, I do have a bunch of other gameplay tips on the channel. We'll be really diving in on improving as a player this week. So if you're trying to take part and try to get better, make sure you hit that sub button down below. Whether you are a new player or someone who has been playing for a while, the tips will be centered to basically anyone trying to take part in anything like this, or if you're trying to get better at the game in general. Let's talk about our rules and just how the tournaments work. There are two different tournaments. Obviously, these screenshots give you a good summary. There's the summer circuit, and then the summer exhibitions. And going into the summer circuit, this is going to be the most competitively focused tournament of the two. There are cash prizes and actual other prizes involved, and you will be playing in 3 separate qualifiers trying to get a spot in the grand final where the prizes are up for grabs. This is also on legend difficulty, the hardest difficulty in the game. So this obviously does have that catering towards the better players in the game. This is more so of your competitive tournament, which I think the community has been asking for a while, and I'm glad to see this go down. This is where the best of the best players will be filtering themselves through. And also remember, since there are real prizes and stuff involved, the rule requirement is that you have to be 18 years and older. Keep that in mind for all you youngins out there. Now to our exhibition tournaments. There are 4 separate tournaments going down on July 31st, August 1st, August 14th, and August 15th. These are single daily tournaments that they're doing each day, alternating from the summer circuit. So you can take part in both if you really want to. The prizes for these are only stubs. And that's a bad thing. It's just with the summer circuit, there's real money on the line. But you know, I think these are more so a benefit of testing out another tournament with the masses, getting a lot of people who haven't played competitive gameplay into something, or just in general get as many people involved in this kind of thing in comparison to the summer circuit, which is more so focused on your top players. The best of the best will be making their way through this, and this is where like the real prizes are. And this one you can enter if you are 13 years or older. If you are above 13 years old, then you're good to play in the exhibition tournaments. But remember, there are no real money prizes in this, just stubs. And also, this tournament is on Hall of Fame difficulty. So again, it appeals more to the masses because a lot of people have played some sort of Hall of Fame before, rather than people who may not even touch Legend this year. But other than that, these tournaments will play the same. Obviously, you have your qualifier style for the summer circuit, where you got to qualify for the grand finals. These are just mini tournaments, so you can play in all 4 of these, but obviously not everyone can make it to the grand final. So for this summer circuit tournament, they have a Swiss format, so the top 128 overall players from the first day of a qualifier move on to Sunday. So there's 6 rounds, there's no elimination, and you can play 1 3-inning game, in this case on Legend, versus your opponent. And then the top 128 players are going to move on to day 2. In day 2, it's just an overall bracket. There are 128 players, mostly 3-inning games. But in the round of 8 and round of 4, they're going to be 9-inning best of 3 series games. And then the finals are 9-inning best of 5 series. And overall, with the grand finals, 64 players will qualify. There'll be 64 players in the grand finals, and it'll be its own bracket. 2 days of brackets, and they'll kind of go through all that stuff then. Keep in mind, if you want to take part in this tournament especially, you will likely want to leave your Saturdays and Sundays open, so make sure you check the schedule, see your availability, because you're going to need to commit all day to it. If there's any sort of delay, you'll likely have to forfeit and move on with someone else. And as you see, these are the rules for the games that you're going to be playing. You're going to be adding each other as friends. So when you hop on Battlefy, the site they're using, you're going to want to make an account. You're going to mention whenever you sign up for the tournament what your PlayStation or Xbox name is. Put that in there, and you're going to want to make a Discord account. They're going to make you connect a Discord account, because I think they're going to be doing this in a Discord server. So they'll just drag you into a Discord, and you'll be able to communicate with each other through there. Also message each other on console if for some reason they don't really answer. Also, no custom stadiums are allowed. Who's surprised by that? MLB minor league stadiums only. And finally, these are the team build rules. You see, there are restricted amounts of players you should use. This is kind of so they get as much of a variance in players as possible. If it was just God Squads, people who haven't played the game much would be at a significant disadvantage. So I think they want to leave it open for everyone. But it's also good because this comes into smart lineup creating. You got to choose the right players that you know you do well with, no matter the rating. If you're someone who played BR a lot and knows some players you did great with, this will be a benefit for you. Or if you are someone who remembers the golds and lower diamonds you used earlier on in the year that you did well with, this will be definitely handy for this kind of thing. And also remember, with these rules, community and parallel inside edge boosts do count. So for example, if an 84 overall player, like they mentioned down here, gets an inside edge of +2, or to get a parallel boost of +1, they're going to need to be listed as an 85 to 94 instead of as that 84 overall. And I bet you a lot of people are going to mess this up during the tournament. So make sure you remember that when making your own lineup, and also accounting for your opponent and making sure you're checking in on your opponent's lineups. And all these things follow on the exhibition tournaments. The only things that are different is that there's no qualifier aspect. You just play in the 2-day tournament. Actually, these are just 1-day tournaments, so they aren't 2-day things. So just one overall tournament with everyone. These will likely be taking place throughout the entire day, because there'll be a likely good amount of people that take part. And if you lose 2 games, you are eliminated. So it's a double elimination tournament. And there are more details on the tiebreakers and things like that that you need to account for. But other than that, things are the same, except they're on Hall of Fame difficulty for the exhibition tournaments. And if you want to read more about the rules, I will leave the link to this document in the comments, just so you can get the most in-depth stuff on your own. I think these rules are a bit of an upgrade from things in the years past. We had a lot of issues with doing things on ESL or just other platforms for these tournaments. And also just doing the Battle Royale style in years past was kind of a hassle. This style allows you to choose every player you want. You don't have that issue of a random draft. And they kind of listen to us on that. If I were to point out any downside on the rules, I mean, first of all, this is going to take a bit, which is fine. And it kind of is unfortunate they didn't find a way to get it to work in game, because some people just won't respond. So you're going to have to be prepared for your opponent to maybe not answer, and then show proof of you trying to reach out to your opponent, trying to make it work, and your opponent just ghosted you. And you don't want to get punished for your opponent not showing up. And finally, I think if I have any other issue, it's with the prize pool. In the rule set here, you'll see with the prize pool for the grand finals of the summer circuit, you have the top 8 get prizes. But if you look at them, the only real money prizes are in those top 4. 5 through 8 only get stubs. Not that that's a bad thing, but you know, 67,500 stubs, 24,000 subs, 11,000, 5,000. I think most of these people who get top 8 don't need that amount of stubs. And for the amount of hours that go into this, It's a little bit of a grind. Fourth place, though, you get $2,000, which is big. Third place, you get $3,500 gift card. Another baseball used from the Home Run Derby. Seems like all the top 4 get that baseball used in the 2021 Home Run Derby. But, you know, the money scales up and the winner gets $15K. So there's a lot at stake here, but only for those top 4. If you don't finish top 4, then you virtually kind of get a slap in the face, in my opinion. Which, you know, take that as your own. That's a preference thing. But I think if you're spending the hours grinding this out, you probably should be somewhat paid fairly. And I think if you're any sort of top 8, they should give you something. I mean, even split up like $2,000 of this $15,000 or something for those last 4 players would be a big plus for them. But that's really it. Other than that, I'm excited to give it a go. I'll be playing and also doing like a watch party type thing on those Sunday days. So, you know, I'll be doing as much as I can as a player, but obviously I don't expect to get top 8. You never know what happens. But I'm just there to kind of enjoy the event and take part in this tournament. Now, let's talk about the team build and things that we can do to prepare ourselves. So here is the team that I decided to build as of right now. You got to be really smart with the 99 overalls or the 95 plus, but they should be 99s at this point, that you choose for your team. You really want to make sure they are players that are very valuable to your team, especially offensively. You got to make sure they are big bats and good enough defenders so they aren't super costly. You got to think about the players you did the best with, but also the positions they play. Think about other options that you found you did well with that were 94 to 85 overalls, or even some golds that you know are super glitchy based on things that you have used in BR or earlier on in the season. And as you see, I also have to account for our inside edge and parallels. Certain players I really can't use. For example, Tatis here. Only way I can use him is if he plays down with inside edge, which probably won't happen, where it really boosts his overall down too much. I can't use his Ernie Banks, so they got him parallel too. So make sure you're accounting for that, and you may not want to play with that player too much and get their parallels up if it's going to get them out of that previous tier. So I'm not going to use Ronnie Mauricio at all, just because I know he's a 94 right now, and I don't want to bump him up to a 95, because I don't have many 94 and less options at shortstop as of right now. Also, feel free to check around your top now cards. Guys like this Ryan Mountcastle have really boosted hitting attributes, and I liked his swing in years past. I haven't used the Mountcastle card at all this year, but this is a big bat that you could throw at first base, and there are a fair amount of them. For example, you have the Brad Miller top now card, big bat, and he's only a 93 overall and can play second. Guys like your Yerman Mercedes here, very good, well-rounded hitting attributes at catcher. And for your bench, you know, this is like my typical lineup construction. Like to have a backup catcher in case, but also Tyler Stevenson here is a good bat. I want good platoon bats, so if I face a righty or a lefty, I have a solid bat. And as you see, we got Crawford and Winker, who are lefty bats. We have Sano and Mancini, who are our righty bats. But I only have Winker in here for now. If he does for some reason plays down, or he is in the gold threshold, then I will put him on the team. And then for your starters, I want to use Edward Cabrera as a 94 overall. If for some reason you have not used Cabrera and don't have a single parallel level, that card is a must use for that lower diamond. He's got really good attributes in terms for a starter, but also the outlier on the sinker is massive. And a lot of people won't be able to use Edward Cabrera as that lower diamond. They have a couple parallels like I do, and that card is now ineligible as that lower diamond overall type player. So you have that advantage of using them in a scenario like for if you face Fernando or Crochet. Also, keep in mind you want to choose pitchers that have good pitch mixes. If you're curious on the best pitchers in the game, in my opinion, feel free to check out my tier list video I made the other day. Here it is up there. I kind of go through the best overall diamond players in the game. We talk about a good chunk of the diamonds that are available, but basically the pitchers that you saw used earlier on in the year will be very viable. There also may be a couple ones that maybe were slept on at that time that could fit that need of being a lower diamond. For example, Tyler Glasnow here. Corey Kluber, where you have solid pitch mixes and solid stuff, but at that point in the game, their release weren't too great. So let's take a look through your inventory in the market and see what's out there. Hop in some friendly games with any friends you have and give them a test. Don't play online with them too much though. If paralleling is a factor for that player, you don't want to burn that for sure. Finally, in terms of preparation, you need to make sure you get your reps in on that difficulty of your tournament. The circuit, like I said before, is on Legend, and the exhibition is on Hall of Fame. If you are someone who has not played much on Legend, you're going to make sure you get your reps now. Maybe have a friend, get them, play your team against your friend on Legend difficulty and play versus friends, and get your reps in. You want to play as many games as you can to practice. If you can't do that, or if you want to just do practice on your own, go to offline play and go to your custom practice. Hop in here against, say, Aroldis Chapman, Jacob deGrom, some very difficult to hit pitcher. Set your settings to Legend difficulty and get those reps in. You got to get visual of what the pitch speeds and stuff look like on that difficulty. Because if you hop in there without any experience on it, whether it's Legend or Hall of Fame, you're gonna have issues. I promise you. Most players that are gonna be taking part in this have a good amount of experience on Hall of Fame, at least. In the Legend side of things, maybe not as many players will be experienced on Legend, but enough of them have played enough where they have a good feel of it. Don't be afraid to hop into ranked with your God Squad, get your reps in, and really grind out a World Series push. Hopping in and playing the Hall of Fame games in 700 and 900 rating, and playing Legend 900 plus is super valuable. Now that this is coming up, I'm going to be playing ranked 900 plus and get my reps in on Legend, make sure I'm good to go. And you got to really get your reps in on those difficulties if you really want to take part and do well. Obviously, if you want to take part and have fun, you don't need to worry about that. If you really want a chance to compete, get your reps in, take some practice, and make sure you get that visual on what those pitch speeds look like. Also, feel free to check out the videos I'm going to be uploading later on in the week, and also other videos on the gameplay tips I made in the past on the channel here. You have hitting tips, pitching tips, all the things that help you all. And if you do want to take this next level and compete with these guys, make sure you check those out because they will likely help you. And I will be making more this week to focus on the top tier level mentality, go through some things that the best players in the game do right, and kind of help you guys improve at the game for this specific tournament setting. But that'll be it for me today. If I missed anything in the comments, definitely let me know. But overall, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like if you learned something new, if you're excited for the tournament. I think they're a dub. I think they're an upgrade from what we had before, but obviously we got to see how they go in application. But you all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you all next one. Deuces.